Don't you see? Don't you see? We just uncovered a $2 million error. We're gonna be heroes. We're going up the corporate ladder. It appears as if somebody's trying to defraud the company.
Somebody tried to smoke it past the wrong guy.
Very, very good work. How would you two like to come to my house at the beach?
Love to!
For Larry and Richard,
How are you?
this is a place to die for.
You have to kill them, Vito.
I'm a little rusty, but it'll come back to me.
What, should we just walk in?
But what they don't realize
No, we'll stand out here on weekend. Come on, we're house guests.
is while they're checking in,
Forget the accident with the two guys. Take care of Lomax.
Bernie Lomax will be checking out.
Oh, my God.
What kind of a host invites you to his house for the weekend and dies on you?
I don't know.
Lomax told whoever he's talking to not to kill us if he's around, right?
Yeah, but Lomax is dead. He's not around anybody anymore.
I know that. You know that. Nobody else knows that. Huh?
Oh!
Where's Bernie? It looks good enough. Let's go.
Uh-oh. Larry.
What? Huh?
Really?
Hi, Bernie. Hey, Bernie, just like last week, huh?
Oh, Bernie, you animal, you are insatiable.
Doesn't anyone realize he's dead?
Hold the boat! Got him? Hold the boat!
Vito, I'm telling you, Lomax is alive. Maybe Paulie is rustier than we thought.
Ooh, Bernie, you're starting to peel. Want to get you out of sun, huh?
Is that the killer?
How do I know, Richard? Should I stop and ask him?
No, just drive.
Serpentine! Did you hear something? What is that? It's just Bernie!
Weekend at Bernie's.
Are we doing it again today?
Oh, absolutely. You know we are.
Great. We'll see you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, ladies. We'll see you later. God, is this great or what?
Hi, I'm Chris,
And I'm Jack.
and we watched a movie.
Again.
We watched Weekend at Bernie's from 1989.
Great movie.
Okay movie.
Stop.
No. So this movie involves two guys working at an insurance company that uncover an insurance fraud scheme and bring it over to their boss, thinking that they're going to be rewarded and get invited to his weekend place. Unbeknownst to them, the boss hires the mob to murder them, but instead the mob murders their boss. And once they find his body, not wanting to lose this fun weekend, decide to pretend he's still alive for the rest of the weekend in order to have a good time. That's the synopsis. Go watch this movie if you want. Everyone's heard of this movie. Everyone knows it. It's in the cultural zeitgeist. Okay, we're moving on. Weekend.
I feel like that was even better than the second time you tried to do it.
Yes, it's much more. I added even more information into it than before.
That's very clean.
Thanks. I do this every episode.
That is true. If anyone is confused, we've tried this a few times.
We've tried this 4 times.
No, this is the 4th attempt. We've tried this 3 times.
Okay, we're getting scarily close to missing like the mark again. So it starts off with our two characters. They're going into work. It's a Sunday. They have to work during the weekend. And while they're working at the office, they discover this insurance fraud. Apparently someone has died multiple times and received insurance benefits up to, like you said, $2 million.
$2 million.
Exactly. And they, thinking that this is going to be their big break to get them like promoted and all kinds of respect, they decided to turn this over to their boss, Bernie Lomax. When Bernie first realizes what's going on, he tries to like tell them that what's happening is like it's incorrect, but Richard proves that it's true. So being proud of them, Bernie decides to invite them to his place in the Hamptons for the weekend so they can further go over the paperwork and figure out what's going on. Larry and Richard, both feeling like they, did a really good job, decide to join him for the weekend and have
They
fun.
graciously accept.
Graciously accept.
Especially Larry.
Especially Larry. Of course Larry does. Richard did like most of the work, and Larry just kind of hopped in. And
See, I know you don't like this beginning. It's about 30 minutes of what we're talking about right now.
Yes.
I know you don't like this.
I don't.
However, the entertaining part is Richard trying to talk to Gwen, which is hilarious. This, at some point, is just a romantic comedy.
Yes, it's trying to be, and it's in some of its parts. So Richard has his crush on this intern named Gwen, and he's very awkward about it. But Larry keeps trying to help him, like, make a move and stuff and everything, but he's just fumbling, and somehow his fumbling is working. I've experienced this. And what happens is
I was about to say, you're just like him, Chris.
I'm similar.
Just ask her out, Chris.
Fuck off. So, what I'm...
Hi, would you like to go to dinner with me?
I'll kill you. But yeah, Richard asks Gwen out on a date, and they go to some cheap place. And he takes her back to his apartment, which is actually his parents' apartment. And even though Larry earlier in the movie offered to have them, because he's like, "Oh, you want to bring her back to my apartment so you can do the deed?" Which I was like, that's nice and kind of gross.
It's only a little gross, Chris.
Yeah, because I'm assuming Larry, based on where the shithole he's living in, it's got to be a 1-bedroom apartment. So I'm curious, where would Larry?
Lord knows in New York what this
probably
place
a
is.
Studio apartment. It's probably a closet.
Oh my God.
Larry's hanging off the balcony watching.
You've seen the pictures of these places, right?
Yeah,
they're horrifying.
They're terrible. It's like $2,000.
Who could live in a place like that?
It's $2,000 for a closet.
I pay less than $1,000 for my shitty apartment.
Well, we live in shitty Indiana, not shitty New York.
Not shitty Indiana, Chris.
Oh, sorry. Amazing Indiana. Home of the Hoosiers and corn.
Who's here?
Who?
Nice.
Oh, my God. Okay. But, yeah, they head back to his parents' place, and we learn something about Richard. Richard's like the moral compass of, the pair, but he's willing to be terrible, and if it means getting laid. Because he lies that this is his place, and he lies that his aunt is dead, and he lies that his dad is his butler. He continues to lie, even though it really seems like not any reason to lie, too.
God, you're just like him.
Fuck off.
Did you know who plays his dad in the movie?
No.
It's the director.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, the director, Ted Kochev? Is that how you pronounce it?
I don't know.
Yeah, he plays the dad.
You really do like this movie.
Amazingly, I think it was 7 years earlier, you might correct me. He directed First Blood, the Rambo movie.
Really?
Yeah, really.
That's interesting.
That was him.
That's crazy. And then he did this?
And then he did this.
That's funny. That's actually pretty funny.
And he's doing this funny thing where, he's like in his underwear, he's like, oh, hey,
He's like, yes, Jeeves, lay my suit out. And he's like, I'll lay you out. She's like, you let your butler talk to you that way? He's like, well, he's different because of the war.
He's a veteran, and, he has a steel plate in his head, and...
Just no reason to be doing this.
Damn it, this is funny, Chris.
But she finally, through all these lies, is like, all right, I'm out of here, and she dips. And then we get back into the plot. So they're heading off to, no. Is the next part the dinner that Bernie has with the mob?
Oh, you skipped over it entirely.
Gotcha. Well, you skipped over it because you wanted to talk about Gwen.
I just mentioned Gwen. You talked about their date first.
Okay, fair. I didn't know. So the date happened after that part?
It happened after that part. So immediately after the boys are like, oh, we're going to spend the weekend at Bernie's. They're all excited and everything. We quickly cut to Bernie, and he's like, we got to kill these guys.
Which, now in retrospect, is a very funny cut.
Chris, they don't know what that means. They don't know the retrospective part of that comment.
I know, and they never will. But yeah, so Bernie's going to hire the mob to kill these two fools. And
because he's the one stealing the $2 million from the company.
Mm-hmm. And somehow the mob's involved in his scheme or whatever, but he's beginning
Chris, it's New York. It's the 80s. So the mob is involved.
All I heard was Crack's not involved in this for some reason.
Chris.
Whoa, what are you going to say? We both know why Crack's not involved in this. What are you about to say, Jake?
Chris, we know why crack is not involved in this.
Certain element missing from this movie, huh?
Fine, I'll say it. Whatever. There are no black characters, Chris. There's none. There's zero. Is that a problem? Is that a problem of the time?
Hey, not why I'm not a big fan of this movie. Love tons of movies with just straight white characters. But I digress. So
Were Italians a part of the crack epidemic?
No, heroin definitely, but I don't know about crack.
I don't know if they were.
Crack was
crack
was different. Definitely heroin. They controlled heroin like crazy.
See, but these Italians, they're reformed. They're buying like parking lots and stuff.
Yes. Well, they need like flat, solid places to bury bodies.
Chris, I feel like this movie is too dry for you.
I don't think that's the problem, Jack.
I think you're confused, Chris.
I don't think so. But see, this is why I think we gotta stop. We gotta get through the plot. We can talk about this after. So yeah, and Bernie, as we learned during this dinner, he's sleeping with Vito, the head like mobster's girlfriend. And
I was about to say, he's not sleeping with Vito.
Yeah, no, he's not sleeping with Vito. He's sleeping with Vito's girlfriend. And they are like making out and setting up plans to date right outside of the restaurant with incomplete view of like one of Vito's dudes. So,
Vito already knows.
Well, yeah.
Vito's a smart guy.
Yes, that's why he sends Paulie to go kill Bernie.
He didn't realize that Paulie was such an idiot.
Yes. So we cut forward to Larry and Richard heading to the boat to like head to the Hamptons. And I thought this was funny. As they're like heading to the boat, it looks like the boat's about to head off, and like Larry's like, "Come on, Richard, we need to hurry. The boat's leaving." And Richard's like, "We'll just catch."
We should have taken a taxi.
We'll just catch the next one. And Richard's like, and Larry's like, "No,
we're gonna miss all the parties."
So they start running, and they leap off of like the what is it, the pier or
dock?
The dock onto the boat, only to realize that boat was docking, not leaving. Oh god!
This movie is funny, damn it.
Never said it wasn't funny. I just said it was okay. Oh goodness!
But that's about the same to me.
I hear you. But yeah, so they're partying on this boat or whatever, and we cut back to the Hamptons, where Paulie shows up to Bernie's place, and like they're setting up for everything. Bernie's telling them like, "Yes."
Well, first he calls, and I missed it on the first time because I've now watched it twice. But Paulie first calls Bernie, and they're talking about their diabolical plan, and maybe I was confused because I've never had a phone like this, but Bernie accidentally presses a button that records the message that they are talking about right then and there.
That's a good point.
Which Paulie makes a comment about, like don't say that we're doing this on the phone. Like, we're on the phone right now.
Mm-hmm.
This will be important later, though.
This will be important later. It's also a good...
People that were living in 1989 will understand, this mistake that was just made.
Oh, yeah, recording the message. But yeah, so Paulie's there talking to Bernie. Bernie's like, yeah, so when you do it, just wait till, like, I'm gone. I want to be back in the city before you do it, so, nothing suspicious is going on. And Paulie's like, yeah, no, definitely. Hey, can you grab that for me? And, like, Bernie's like, yeah, sure. And he goes to grab something. Paulie sticks him and, like, gives him an overdose of heroin, I'm assuming. I don't know, some drug.
Now, to be fair, I don't know what drug it is. Because I don't know if just taking heroin to your ass kills you.
An overdose, yeah.
Maybe it does. Depends
on the concentration. Like, well, injecting, like, anything at a certain concentration would probably kill you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, injected water would kill you. But, yeah, you're right. I don't know what... I assume there's heroin.
What... Isn't it, like... I know heroin is dangerous, but when it isn't being directed into one of your veins, isn't it more deadly?
Heroin?
Heroin.
You mean like when it's ingested orally or like just touched?
Well, what he's doing is where it's just being ingested into the body.
Oh, like a sub-Q injection.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I would think like an injection like into your circulatory system would be a bit more dangerous, but I may just be missing that.
See, that was part of the thing. And, we are thinking too critically about this scene.
Yes, we are.
We absolutely are. But when he just stuck him in the ass with this needle, I was like, oh, well, that's just poison.
Yeah.
I think that's just poison. But he puts a little baggie of white powder in his pocket, which, who knows what that could be.
Exactly. I made the assumptions that it was cocaine, but it could be any drug. That's why I assumed there was also drugs in the injection. Like, he's, trying to make it seem like he, overdosed. But, yeah, so he does that, leaves all the stuff, puts on, a priest costume and heads out, passes right by the boys when they get to the island. And then Larry...
They ask for directions. He says, bless you.
Yep. Larry and Richard show up to the house or whatever, and they're looking around for Bernie. And they find him... because also Paulie, after injecting him and putting the drugs on him and the needle, he puts his sunglasses on his face. And they just think Bernie's sleeping, And Larry's like, ha, someone was partying pretty early, huh? Having to pass out. And Larry just starts slapping him in the face, like, hey, wake up. Wake up. And Richard's like, stop that. What are you doing?
That's your boss. Don't slap your boss. They carry him over to the couch, and then, Larry's like, all right, I'll make the coffee.
Is instant okay? Yeah, sure, whatever. He's just, laying on Richard.
Larry? Bernie's dead. What? I didn't know he was in the drug scene. I've watched Dateline. I know the statistics.
Oh, the statistics. But yeah, so they realize he's dead. And they're like, oh, God. And, they, see the drugs and everything. And they're like, oh, why? And Larry's like, why would he do this now? When we were coming.
Larry's like, why do these things happen to me?
What the hell, Larry? Jesus Christ. And Richard's like, well, we gotta alert the authorities.
Larry is trying his best to make sure Richard isn't calling the police.
Yeah.
And then the one guy walks in who's shit-faced.
Yeah. Oh, because Larry's like, Richard, what do you think they're going to think happened if you call the police and they show up here with this dead body? And then, that guy shows up, and then basically the entire fucking beach floods into, Bernie's house and just starts partying with them, and they realize that no one notices that Bernie's dead. If people are coming up saying hi to him and everything, talking to him, not a single soul.
You're going to hate me for this. But this scene reminds me of American Psycho.
No, I'm not going to hate you for that. This movie has at its roots, it could have been a lot deeper. This could have been that reminded me of The Great Gatsby, and it could have been social commentary on the vanity of rich people and the wealthy.
I mean, my God. In The Great Gatsby, they don't treat Gatsby like they do Bernie.
No, exactly. Well,
not even that,
Well, dude, it's in the, there's a part of The Great Gatsby where, they're, the main character and a girl are driving in a car, and she's driving super hella recklessly, and he's like, what are you doing? You're going to get us killed. And she's like, no, it takes two people to cause an accident. And you see how selfish she is and how vain she is. She's like, I don't have to be responsible. Other people have to be responsible.
My God, you remember The Great Gatsby a lot better than I do.
I like The Great Gatsby.
I love Tobey Maguire.
I do too. But it's one of the things where, I think this movie could have been a lot better than what it was if it focused a little bit more on that. It had good jokes and everything, but, it's saying, all these rich, wealthy assholes don't really give a shit.
I mean, I love that they're saying that. When I was watching it, I was kind of hoping that someone would be like, he's dead.
I was hoping that would be a poor person.
Well, I didn't know who that was going to be. But I was just hoping that any character would be like, what is happening? He's clearly dead. But we got the flip side of that instead, where Polly is like, oh my God, he's alive after I murdered him.
Polly loses. Okay, we'll get to that. We'll get there. But yeah, so
that satisfied my craving of that part, like,
Mm.
and you know, it is so funny how none of them are realizing it.
Yes.
And like, Richard's talking to Gwen, and Gwen wants to go thank him for her internship or whatever, and Richard screams at the top of his lungs, and everyone looks at him, and then just
No!
everyone just keeps on doing what they were doing before, and she keeps on moving, and
Well, yeah, dude. It's like before that, like the people that come up to him, one dude's asking him for like some business deal. Another one, I'm guessing, is his personal trainer who's giving him a massage. And it's like, oh, you're pretty stiff, Bernie. Oh, I gotta work you out.
he actually says the opposite.
Oh, pretty loose.
You're pretty loose, Bernie. I've never seen you this relaxed before. Ha ha! I've got to go. Ha ha!
Ha ha.
Oh man, you gotta pump some iron.
Yeah. A girl comes over and is like, I heard you had like a present for me, Bernie. And she just starts going through his pockets and then finds the drugs. And it's like, oh, thanks, Bernie. And just walks away. I was like...
Gives him a little kiss, and I was like, come on, that's funny.
I'm more focused
None of them care. None of them realize it. Like,
Exactly. I think that's very funny and interesting. Could have been something a lot more interesting. But what was it? But yeah, so like...
I personally think it's interesting what it is.
That's fair. But Larry's like, ah, nice. He goes and sits right next to Bernie or whatever, puts his arm around him and is like, ha, I'll just keep pretending like this dude's alive so I can have a good time next to this corpse.
Love Larry. Larry's such a good character.
Oh my god. And then Richard, and this again shows that Richard, who is supposed to be the moral compass, that's why they had this girl in this movie. Is because they need a reason for him to be willing to go along with this. Yes, like, oh goodness, you know, she's here and I can hang out with her, but if, you know, she knows Bernie's dead, then I can't hang out with her. So he's going along with this, and they're hanging out. And eventually Bernie, I can't remember exactly how this happened, but he ends up falling over the side of his railing and like hitting the sand. And they just leave him there.
For the tides.
For the tides. And like Richard and Gwen go off to like chill or whatever. They go to like a lighthouse. Richard looks into the damn light of the lighthouse like a idiot and falls down the stairs. Does not die. I think that would have been funny if he died.
Damn it, Chris, you hate this movie.
I don't hate this movie. I just don't like it as much as you do.
Chris, you've never embarrassed yourself so much that a girl likes you because of it?
No, I have.
The whole thing.
Jack, I can identify with these characters. I see the similarities in both of us. This movie has a bunch of good jokes in it. It's okay.
I think you need to watch this movie again. Regardless.
I've watched the movie 3 times.
Regardless.
Okay.
They go onto the beach, you know, they're having a romantic time. They're making out. Bernie's dead corpse is coming up to the shore.
Well, like, Richard's like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this is happening. Oh my goodness. She's like, oh yes, Richard. And then, like, he sees the body, he's like, oh my god. And she's like, yes.
He's like, oh my god, I can't believe this is happening to me. And she's like, oh, I can't believe it's happening to me either.
And he's like, wait, you deserve more than this. You deserve candles and, you know, romance.
Music and flowers and...
Let's get out of here.
Where do you live? I need to take you home.
The interesting thing is that he walks her home and doesn't just leave Bernie's body in the ocean. Why not? Why not go bang Gwen and leave the body? Someone else will find it, and then you have an excuse.
The man is scared, okay?
Okay.
That explains both of their motivations throughout.
That they're scared?
Especially later.
Yes, yes.
Where they keep making ridiculous decisions based on how scared they are.
I hear you. While this is happening, or I think earlier, Larry is at the party, and he goes to sit down next to a woman. He says hi to her, and she's like, fuck off. And he's like, okay.
Hi, I'm Larry. Fuck off, Larry.
It's funny.
We've all been there, am I right?
Oh, yeah. We are dudes. And then, yeah, so Richard heads back after dropping off Gwen, and he runs into the house to find Larry. So they go and get Bernie's body back, and they lug it back into his place, and they shove it into his room. And then...
which is a feature of this film. They'll do this again later.
Yeah. And, oh, God, we missed this. Richard sees this dude passed out on the couch or whatever, and he's like, oh, God, are you dead too? He's like, sir, wake up, sir. And luckily he wakes up and he gets him the hell out of there. But yeah, they bring Bernie's body back and set him up in...
Oh, it was a great party, Bernie. I'm sorry I have to leave early. He's the last person there.
Imagine that lifestyle, Jack. Just to get to party and be drunk and do whatever you want.
I remember college.
But this dude's like 50.
I remember college.
Oh my God. But, what was it? So, yeah, they lug his body back and they put it in his room or whatever. And they're just, like, chilling, talking about the night. When who else but Vito's girlfriend shows up, pissed off because Bernie didn't meet her at the designated area. And she's, like, yelling at them to tell her where Bernie is. And they're like, we don't know. She starts destroying the place, grabs a knife. And immediately, isn't it Larry? Larry's like, he's upstairs.
Actually, Richard does it.
Oh, it's Richard. Richard's
the big betrayer.
Richard's
oh my
like,
God, I know this movie too well.
Yes, you do. Richard's like, oh, he's upstairs. Okay. So she heads upstairs to run to Bernie, and they're both like, well, that's it. It's over. It was good while it lasted. And they start like...
At least she found the body.
Yeah. Like, they go start making drinks or whatever, and then...
Making drinks is, code words for they're just drinking champagne.
Yeah. But then 15, 20 minutes pass, and they're like, what's happening? She hasn't screamed. She hasn't done anything. This is weird. And she comes out very satisfied.
She's like singing and whistling to herself, like...
She asked him to give her a drink.
She asked for a glass of scotch. Classy.
Mm-hmm.
She's a classy lady, Chris.
Yeah, the only thing classier she could ask for was Colt 45. But,
oh, God.
But, yeah, they, slowly piece together, like the audience, that she banged that corpse somehow. And that's it. That's what it is.
Once again, I don't know the logistics of this whole thing. But
not possible.
It's not possible. However, they're giggling about it, and to be fair, if this were you and me in this situation, we'd also be giggling.
Of course we'd be laughing.
Of course!
Some random woman banging a corpse upstairs who were, like, hiding and pretending he's still alive so we can party at his house. This could have been a Florida vacation at Cheyenne's uncle's place. If her uncle, like, croaked and we just kept his... pretending he was alive and partied at his house.
I hope she never listens to this.
I hope her uncle looked at those videos.
That's a funny thing. I hope he looked at those videos as well.
Right? Every day he was like, oh shit,
Spring break!
Spring break! Alright. But yeah, Richard decides to go to bed because he's wiped. And Larry's like, I'm going to go keep partying. So he heads out to party.
Amazingly, Richard sleeps longer than Larry does.
Yeah.
Larry's outside with Bernie. They're playing Monopoly.
Yep. Larry has set up a clever rig with Bernie where when he puts his arm up, Bernie's arm goes up so they can wave at people.
Another interesting tidbit. That was completely made up by the cast.
Really?
The guy who played Larry wanted to do that. Because the director, Dan Ketchoff? I don't know how to say his name. But he brought a Monopoly board and he was playing it constantly.
You love this movie.
And the cast found it hilarious. So they were like, all right, let's get Bernie to play Monopoly with Larry.
Oh my goodness.
Damn it, love this movie, Chris.
I know you do. Based on that right there.
No, not me. I want you to love it.
Okay.
I already know I love it.
I know you do too. Alright, so yes, the next day they're doing that. Richard eventually wakes up and Gwen comes over.
He goes out there. He's like, what are you doing? We're playing Monopoly. What's that on your arm? Rolex? When did you get a Rolex? Oh my God.
He's stolen Bernie's Rolex. And Larry's like, come on, he won't care. And it's like, what the hell, Larry?
It doesn't even fit on his arm either. Like,
yeah. Richard's like, nope, I'm done. I'm calling the cops.
I'm calling the cops.
Yep. And then Gwen shows up. Oh, goodness. And she's like, oh, yeah, I just wanted to thank Larry or whatever. And he's like, look, Gwen, I'm going to be honest with you. Larry's dead.
Larry?
Sorry, Bernie's dead.
Bernie's dead.
Yeah.
Well, he meanders a little bit. He tries to explain it the best he can, and he does a terrible job. And while this is going on, Larry is trying to improvise, and he pushes Bernie's corpse off the side of the deck.
That corpse falls off the side of the deck for the second time.
Where it lands on Polly. Because Polly is back, because Polly is he thinks that Bernie is still alive.
Because when the girlfriend was hooking up with Bernie, that, like, bodyguard guy was watching her, and he reports back. So Polly's like, he's alive again. And when the body falls on him, it falls in, like, a way where the arms are hanging around, like, Polly's neck or whatever. So
it looks like they're fighting.
Yeah. And you see Polly, like, fighting his corpse.
Polly very slowly overpowers Bernie's corpse.
And, like, chokes him out.
Yeah, he chokes him out till he's dead, and he checks his pulse, and he's like, oh, alright, like...
Alright, he's finally dead. Good.
But during this whole time, somehow Richard is still explaining the situation to Gwen. And he takes her out there, and they go up to Larry, and Richard's like, where's Bernie? Oh, he went to get more daiquiri mix.
God damn it.
Gwen leaves, and Richard is so pissed off at Larry, like...
Yes. It's like, what?
Come on, this is us, Chris.
I'm
Larry, you're Richard.
Yeah, this is very much us, my dude. I just wish we were in a slightly better story.
Damn it, this is a good story. Some kid has buried him in sand.
He's burying him in the sand. They're like, what are you doing? And the kid's like, fuck off. And starts burying him, like, faster or whatever. Like, they head down there. The kid runs off, and they get him out and bring him back upstairs. And then, isn't this when they discover, like, the message?
They do discover the message here.
Yeah. Because they're going through stuff. They, like, look through the message, and they hear the message that Bernie's going to hire someone to kill them. And they also find a murder-suicide note that was supposed to be written by Larry, in which Larry and Richard play out a weird version of Dog's Days Afternoon, where where Richard was trying to get money for Larry's sex change operation.
But Larry doesn't love him anymore.
Yeah.
Larry has moved on.
So Richard decided to kill Larry and then kill himself. And Larry is like, can you believe this, what he's saying about me? And he's like, Larry, it's fake. Calm down.
None of us is getting a sex change operation. I have a reputation.
God. Oh, God, man.
It's so stupid, but it's
stupid.
so funny.
It is funny. But they're not on the interpretation that, like, oh, man, this guy, they're trying to kill us. But Larry said, don't kill us if he's around. So we need to keep Larry around, and then they won't kill us. So they decide.
Oh, my God. His name is Bernie. Chris.
Oh, God, Bernie. I keep doing that.
You keep doing that.
All right.
Larry is a great side character. I'm a great side character, Chris.
We're both great side characters.
No, you're the main character in this story.
I mean, I wouldn't say that just because they give him the, like, love, like, plot, but Richard's okay.
Right, the love plot sounds more like me, but everything else sounds just like you for Richard.
Oh, my goodness. So, they decide to, like, spruce up the body and, like, keep it with them as they head to the dock so they can, like, get on the boat that's leaving, but they're not able to get his body up in time. And then, wait, no, before that, they're, like, worried that anyone that could come through is, like, a murderer or something. So, like, a dude comes through.
Then the help comes in.
Yes, the help comes. Like, Richard's old, like, maintenance man shows up or whatever. and like, is it Richard or Larry that knocks him out?
It's Richard.
Richard.
See, this is a great scene also, and it's very meta. You'll enjoy this because I know you missed it. So, Richard swings a couple times at the first guy who comes in, and then he finally knocks him out. The next guy comes in, and he knocks him out too. And he looks over at the couch and he says, "All right, Rambo, you can come out here now."
Nice.
Come on. Come on, like.
No, that's good. That's good. So yeah, they knock out both those guys, and then they decide to shove them into the closet, and then it's pretty
Pantry.
in the pantry, and then like Richard like gets their bodies up and like shoves them into the pantry, and then Larry closes the door on them, and then starts to walk off or whatever. And Richard's like, "Larry." Oh, goodness. So, yeah, they get the body and they put it into his, like, golf cart. Because there's, like, no cars on this island. It's just golf carts for some reason. And
It's a very small island.
Very small island.
Once again, I don't know the geography.
I've heard about the Hamptons only in movies. Never been there.
Me neither. Never
yeah.
been invited.
Me neither. Wrong social groups. But, yeah, so they head off to the dock to, like, catch the boat. And as they're trying to get on the boat, Paulie is there waiting, and he sees burning. He's like, "What? No, stop the boat! I gotta get off the boat! Come on, let me off the boat!" And like
at the same time, Richard and Larry are like, "Stop the boat! We need to get on the boat!" Like, damn it! This classic comedy.
So that doesn't work, and then they're like, "Wait, Bernie's got a boat." So they decide to head back to his place to get his keys, and then to head back to the boat.
Which they do.
Yes, and they get in the boat, and are there any hijinks that you want to talk about on this boat ride?
I mean, you just have to see it. Like, they're so silly. Like, have you been on a boat, Chris? Have you been on a speedboat before?
Yes.
I mean, the way they're acting is just so ridiculous.
Well, of course. One thing I thought was funny when, like, Larry was like, "Wait, how do I stop this?" Like, because he has to come back around and grab Richard or whatever.
Wait, where's the brake?
Yeah.
It's a boat. There isn't a brake.
It's like, use the anchor. It's like, oh, okay. And he grabs the anchor and he tosses it. And he just flings it at another boat and it smashes through people's table. Like, oh, my God.
He not only hits another boat, but he throws an anchor at a different boat from that one.
Yes. Oh, God.
They start driving around, on the ocean, and Bernie's corpse, falls off the boat, and they start dragging him around. Amazingly, they had a stunt double for that scene, where he's just being, I don't know what you call it, just water skiing, but face down in the water.
They had an actual person for that?
They had an actual person for that. They had a stunt double for that.
Fuck that.
He broke multiple ribs because of it.
How much research did you do?
Chris, shut your face. I love this movie.
I can tell.
But yes, they had a stunt double.
Mm-hmm.
Which I couldn't believe that they had for that. They didn't have one for the scene where he's rolling down in the little, the little wagon.
The little wagon?
Yeah, when they were trying to get him into the golf cart.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the wagon.
But I mean, they were just smacking his head continuously in that scene. But for this scene where they're just dragging him across the water, they had a stunt double for that. Okay. And a scene that you could easily use just a dummy.
Yes. Easily use a dummy. That fucking sucks for that guy. Fuck that.
Ha! Fantastic.
Amazing.
I mean, they're just beating the hell out of his body, and they run out of gas. And so they paddle back to the Hamptons on Bernie's corpse.
Yes. Again, not abandoning this corpse because they need it to stay alive. Oh, God.
They get back to the house. When
all right, actually,
amazingly, this is the last 10 minutes of the movie. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe how quickly it ends up. But Gwen shows up. Paulie shows up. Paulie shoots Bernie's dead body.
You're missing a few things. This is actually something I like because they show back up, and then Gwen shows up, and she realizes that Bernie's dead, and she's like,
well, it's because Larry brings his corpse down the stairs and just is dragging his body in.
And she's like freaking out. She's backing up, and Richard's like, "No, we're not crazy or whatever. Bernie just died randomly. We've been pretending that he's alive.
We're not killers.
We're not killers." And then like the handymen break out of the closet.
Damn it, Chris! It's the pantry.
Sorry, the pantry. It's the same thing. Just one stores food. They're both closets. Oh my god.
Damn it! They're distinct.
Oh my god.
They come out. They're all mad and everything about being knocked out. They're out there and they both get knocked out by both Richard and Larry with separate bottles.
They smash bottles over their heads
to knock them out.
And then again, they're like, "We're not crazy. We're not dangerous.
We're not dangerous. We didn't kill them." The best thing for Gwen in that situation is Polly immediately rolls in, guns blazing. Like,
yes, it doesn't prove that they're not murderers, but it does prove that he is a murderer and dangerous. Because, like, he runs in, shoots Bernie, like you said, then goes to shoot them, and he's out of bullets. So they're like, okay, we got this. And he's like, aha, I've got another gun. And he starts chasing them around the house.
They start running away.
And they run upstairs, and, like, Larry's like, "Richard, take Gwen and hide. I'll lead him away." Okay. Didn't have to agree that fast.
I thought we were going to talk about this.
That doesn't sound like you.
That sounds just like you.
I know.
Wait, maybe we're a mixture of these characters.
We are.
But yeah, so they go run and hide. Larry is running around at the bottom floor. He decides to hide behind the staircase where Polly's coming down. And, I mean, this is classic 80s comedy where Bernie's dead body, he tries to move him, and then he accidentally kicks Polly in the nuts. Polly's so mad he shoots him again.
And he runs out of
bullets. And so Larry comes out of nowhere and takes a telephone wire and he rolls it around him.
Well, first he tries to choke him out, but like he's like grabs it with his hand. So then he like
see, all Italians know this move though.
Getting choked out with a telephone wire?
Of course.
I gotta cut a bunch of stuff. All right,
this is not racist.
Okay. But yeah, like you said, he starts tying him up in the telephone wire or whatever and subdues him. And as this is happening, Richard gets, a hint of bravery and is like, "Larry, I'm coming!" And he grabs like a lamp and he heads down to help him.
Another comedic moment where it's not unplugged, so he has to go back. But Larry has figured out the whole situation by himself.
Yes.
Where he's doing this macho man thing where he's like, put him up. What are you doing, you coward? And then he knocks him out, even though he's completely tied up.
Exactly. Yes. So, yeah, they subdue Polly, and, like, they eventually, I guess someone calls the police, because the police show up, and they, like, take Polly away, and Polly is like, "No, he's alive. I'm telling you, he's alive. He's alive. He's not
dead." They put him in a straitjacket. Larry's taking all the credit.
Yeah, he's like, they're taking pictures with the cops or whatever. Like, they're
he's shaking his hand like
broken
multiple crimes and positive.
Of course they have. Oh my god. Like, oh god. And then they, like, head off onto
misuse of a corpse. They assaulted 2 people.
Yes. I don't know, probably something like trespassing. I don't know if it counts whether the person's dead or alive, but...
Now, to be fair, they did have his permission to be there.
They did.
They did.
When he was
alive.
So
I don't think trespassing is included.
Do you think... That's an interesting law question. But, yeah, no, they've definitely committed multiple crimes.
Oh, for sure.
But they get off scot-free because they're heroes. Because they stopped Polly.
Clearly.
like in all those movies, whenever this happens. But they're chilling on the beach, Gwen, Richard, and Larry, and they're taking Bernie's body away. Falls right behind them or whatever, and they hear someone's like, "Oh, what's up, Bernie?" And they're like, "Bernie?"
They all look behind them.
They're like, "Oh, no!" They're like,
And
oh,
they all sprint off. Classic comedy.
Cut, movie ends.
Great movie.
Good movie.
Great movie.
Good movie.
See, I got you from going to say okay to good.
Sure.
Bang, let's go.
Weekend at Bernie's is...
Now, let's remember, Chris. This was your suggestion.
I did, yeah. I knew exactly what this movie was. It's something to talk about. Well, semi-suggestion. Suggestion slash...
You said it to me one time, I was like, we're doing it.
Also, it's a suggestion, something I would have wanted to do anyway, but it's also sort of a listener request.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah, I didn't tell you that. This is Tommy's.
Really?
Yeah. Well, one of his. He recommended multiple. All of them really solid picks.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
This was a great pick, Tommy.
Yes.
And I'm Tony. Just kidding.
Jesus. Jack, no, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that yet.
Okay. But I'm Tommy!
Damn it!
Okay.
We're not doing that, Chris.
We'll do that at some point. But yeah, that's...
We're not doing that, Richard.
Okay, Larry. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. I would recommend people to watch Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh, I would too. It's a classic.
Yes, it's literally a classic. It's inspired so many like things in pop culture. Like if you've ever seen something where like people pretend someone's like alive, or even though they're like incapacitated in any way, it's based off this movie, and it's a funny movie. I do still think that the joke is drawn out. I think the ending is a little too long, and I think the beginning is a little too long.
I don't think it's drawn out at all. Mainly because the beginning is so long.
That's the thing.
The beginning is very long.
It's so.
But I actually enjoy the beginning because I think it's world building. We understand the characters more because of the beginning.
I think the biggest part of the beginning, I understand who Larry and Richard are from the first 4 minutes of them walking to work and working. I think a big part of the beginning is addressing who Richard is and why Richard would be willing to go along with this plan, which is Gwen. I think that's
true.
I think that's one of the big reasons they do that, which I still think could have. It's one of those things like this movie is not long. This movie is an hour and a half. It's a quick movie. But the fact I still feel like it feels long just because I feel like they don't have much to go off of. Like they make a lot of jokes with this premise, but it just kind of drags for me after about the next day when they wake up. Next day when they wake, there's still funny moments happening where they have like knockout like the handyman and stuff and everything, but like, and then like when they like try to get off the island multiple times.
See, now you're gonna appreciate the Rambo reference.
I can appreciate the Rambo reference, but yeah, that's my opinion of the movie. I would go with a 5, probably.
I'm gonna give it an 8.5 out of 10. I love this movie, Chris.
Alrighty then.
This is a classic movie. This is a must-see movie.
Strong words. Well, I recommend this. Jack recommends this. You should definitely watch this movie. I would always recommend Weekend at Bernie's to people. Now, we'll see what happens when we watch Weekend at Bernie's 2, see if this holds up.
Stop. We are not doing that.
We are doing that.
Don't ruin a good thing.
What do you think this is? This
I
podcast.
hate you so much, Richard.
Calm down, Larry. But anyway, so as always, there's a link at the bottom of this podcast. Go suggest movies for us to watch, or just send in a funny message if you want to. Also, go rate us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening to this on. It really helps the podcast. Follow us on Instagram, whatever. Anything you want to add?
God, no.
Okay. Well, as always, I'm Chris.
And I'm Jack.
And we watch movies.
Nice.